X, and I do the speaking. So hi, thanks for having me. Now, Bad Idea is an acronym, BAD, standing for Blockchain, AI, and Decentralized Autonomous Organization. So we're doing those three things simultaneously, and it's the DAO part that brings me here, that gives me the keys. I'm a community member who has been, for better or worse, chosen to come up and speak because I know about the product, and that's my strong point. So what is the intersection of blockchain, humanity, and AI? Nobody knows, but we're trying to figure that out, or at least we're trying to figure out our version of that, because I think everybody's going to have a version of that. So if you're the kind of person who is into bleeding edge technology and crypto and AI, which by default, I think if you're in this space, you're probably that person, Bad Idea is probably a project you would want to look into. So we do have a token, but I don't want to go on and on about the token because I'm more focused on the technology, the bots that we've got and stuff like that. So if you're into crypto, buy the token, whatever, that's cool. But the AI stuff that we're here to talk about today is actually what fascinates me personally. I got into Bad Idea because of the AI part. Tokens are cool. We all trade crypto, but I wanted to know more about how AI worked. I was already using ChatGPT. I was already wondering how AI trading was going to change things. So getting into Bad Idea and working closely with what is essentially a group designed bot system where all the members of the community are giving input, testing the bot, working on the technology. And now we're starting to go out and integrate that bot into Telegram groups. We're a Shibarium partner. So most of your Shibarium or SHIB related Telegram groups right now, if you go in there, you're going to find access to the free Bad Idea AI bot. It's in there. It's usable. There's a slash command, and it's basically a free to use GPT for crypto research / entertainment. One of the cool things is because we're on Telegram, there are no geo restrictions in place. You find like GPT and some other products might be geo restricted, but because of our reach on Telegram, we have a significant number of overseas users in places that other programs might not have access to. So we always like to brag about being not geo restricted in our user base. So without going on further and further, my name's Shane. I'm here from Bad Idea. We do AI. We do it really, really well. And if you like AI, you will like what we're doing. So thanks for having me.
Hey, Shane. Thanks for coming up here, bud. It's great to have you. Also, you guys, definitely recommend you check out Bad Idea. That is probably the sassiest AI bot I have ever used in my entire life. I've never seen responses like I've seen from Bad Idea AI. It's awesome, you guys. So definitely go check that out. Next, I'm gonna pass it over to Shaq. How's it going, buddy? Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, morning, Alex. Great to be here. Yeah, everybody, really excited to join today's space because I know it's a super relevant one, especially with like sort of, the inherent incumbency of like sort of a lot of AI projects right now, combined with also the immense trading activity, right? I mean, more than half of crypto is essentially powered by airdrops, right? And so trading really becomes an essential part of crypto, and it's really the intersection of a lot of cool spaces right now that are super relevant. What I personally work on right now, I'm actually a growth lead for Layer N. We're essentially a L2 scaling solution that's taking a ZK hybrid or ZK optimistic hybrid roll-up approach in order to provide 100,000 transactions per second while also offering under 50 milliseconds finality. So super relevant for DeFi, especially for trading and DEXs. So if you know anybody building lending protocols, DEXs, or stable coins, or just as power user of any sort of DEXs, would love to have a conversation there after this. But super pumped to be here. Yeah, excited to join.
Hey, Shaq, always happy to have you, bud. Great responses from you as always. So I'm happy to bring you up here as one of our speakers. And last but not least, we have James from Cyber Elite. How's it going, buddy? Good morning, and thanks for joining.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Sorry, it took me a minute to get logged in. I was having some problem. I'm on PC, and Twitter and PC is a little funky. I'm excited to be here. We use AI all the time at Cyber Elite. We're developing some AI tools.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to have you up here as well. What you guys are developing as Cyber Elite is super sweet, and I think it's be really quite helpful for a lot of IRL Web3 gaming events. Can't wait to see what you guys start dropping down. So, anyways, you guys, before we start our space, I'll tell you a little bit about Pea.AI. So, Pea.AI, we're currently in our alpha space, and we're signing up for a whitelist. So, if you guys go to our website, Pea.AI, you can actually sign up for our whitelist now to go get a chance to try our new AI product. Some of the features you can expect to be our whitelist summarization, even just a project summary in general by looking at their website. You can get daily news summarized for you as well. You can find money flow for the day, top tokens for the day. Essentially, just use P right now for all of your news information, all of your white paper summaries, and of course, to help you find all those hottest tokens. And even you can even make some charts and queries with P. So quite exciting product, guys. Sign up for our whitelist. Anyways, I'm going into the first question, and our first question is, as AI advances and integrates itself more and more within Web3, it would only make sense for AI tools to help you better optimize and evaluate your trades before they go through. That's what this space is about today, and how we can use AI tools like me to become a better trader. So, first question is, what are some tools, some AI tools you're currently taking advantage of to help you trade? For me, for example, obviously I'm on the P, and I always, actually, believe it or not, I use a GPT a ton just to help get my knowledge better on certain more niches, right? To help explain something. So right now, I guess my two main products would be P and ChatGPT, just to help me get more information about certain products. All right. What about you, Shaq? Any AI tools you're currently using?
Yeah, definitely using ChatGPT, and actually more GPT wrappers actually now, Alex. I know we were having this conversation a couple weeks ago about sort of integrating, web scraping almost, and sort of using that to train custom like LLM agents, right? And so basically these custom agents are trained on super select data that has a ton of information, relevant information on whatever question you're asking. And so how this can be applied in sort of a trading scenario, right, is literally sort of evaluating coins holistically, rather than sort of only using sort of hard technical analyses, which you typically see like a lot of sort of even institutional investors doing, is essentially using a blend of, yes, technical analysis is important, but there's also the overarching, especially in crypto, right? There's sort of the overarching sentiment around the coin, and sort of the relevant technologies around the coin. And so typically you need sort of a lot of the off-chain data as well, and sort of, okay, what is the hype around the coin? How is this project actually doing? What are sort of maybe some of the social media sort of statistics of the coin, right? And this actually really powers sort of a lot of the coins sort of, pump, sort of schemes, right? In sort of the initial couple weeks of the coin ICOing. And so when you have sort of maybe like a more custom LLM agent trained on sort of all of this relevant information, you're able to make more accurate predictions on sort of where the coin is going to go based on even historical trends for past sort of coin launches. So I think that's a super cool potential application of GPT, specifically with maybe like a custom GPT wrapper that can specifically sort of go out and scrape the web for relevant information on coins. But anyways, yeah, just my 2 cents there.
Hey, great input, Shaq. And I'm always about the website scraping. I think it's super valuable, and that's something we're working on with P as well. So stay tuned. We're still a little bit rough on that, but as time goes on, we'll get better and better. Next, I'm gonna pass it over to Shane. Shane, any AI tools that you're currently using? Maybe Bad Idea, for example.
Well, what's funny is I was going to lay off the shilling for Bad Idea, but he just opened the door because the agents thing we were talking about, I would say the same thing. Because we had that conversation last week specifically about our agents and agent prompting. And I do still use that. And I know we are teaching a community of holders also how to do that. So that's fun teaching people that. But I was also going to talk about non-bad related things. I think there's a lot to be used. And Shaq was kind of saying this, but he's saying it. I'm going to make it real simple to understand. There's a lot of shit on charts that I don't understand and cool tools that I'm never going to know how to use. And AI is making things like Fibonacci sequences and retracement patterns and cup and handles and all the stuff that like I might read about and be like, oh, yes, I recognize these words. Now it is handing me those pieces of information in a way that I can digest them. I love using prompts and asking it like, hey, here's a bunch of data. Could you explain this like I'm 7.5 years old? Give this to me in a way that maybe I could make more sense of it, because it does two things. One, it gives me the information I need right away without me having to wait on somebody. And two, and it saves me from going to somebody and admitting that I'm an idiot, or at least that I'm ignorant, because I used to just have to ask my friends. And I'm not too proud to ask, but I just know that it's easier to ask an autonomous system that isn't going to judge you. And then when you guys talk about it, people are going to be like, damn, you're smart. And then the reality is you're being tutored by these GPTs. So I don't think I'm using an AI to actually make like trades and trading decisions, but I am sure as hell supplementing all of the things that I was missing in the gaps of my information. And then I'll copy contracts and I'll copy that information into these things and compare that stuff again, because it fills the gaps in my ignorance. So I'm like proudly ignorant, and I'm using AI in a lot of ways to do that, and reminder, I'm not the dev of Bad Idea. Like, this is just me being you. Like, I'm a holder, I trade crypto for a living. So I really like that it puts the power in my hands that way.
Amen, dude. Amen. That was great. So, guys, moving on to our second question here. I'm curious about, what are some ways that AI can just make you more efficient in Web3, right? So, for example, like with P, we can do, like I mentioned earlier, we can do that white paper summary. God, it takes so much of my time when I'm looking into new projects. I'm sure if you're in the crypto scene, you're looking at new projects every day. Something new to invest in, or just keep on your radar, and just going through white papers day after day through project to project, geez, takes forever, man. Holy smokes. So always about utilizing AI just to help me with just saving some time on the white paper, or even just finding the daily news. So those are some of the ways that I use AI to be more efficient in Web3. Curious about your guys' thoughts, and passing it back over to Shaq.
Yeah, some great points actually by Bad Ideas last round. I think that's another excellent use of sort of ChatGPT as like sort of a tool in order to almost like triple and quadruple your productivity in the space, right? Like, especially in a space where there's so much like sort of new technology constantly being bombarded. There's like 20 different ZK projects that start up every year, it feels like right now, or sorry, every day, right? It feels like right now. And so in order to learn about like all of those projects, like Alex, you're absolutely right. I mean, it takes forever in order to actually go through and meticulously read like the white paper, right? And especially like when you're trying to like only view sort of the surface level information, unfortunately a lot of time you just don't find that literature on their docs. Like, the docs are kind of not built out yet. And so it becomes immensely important, right? Like, especially when you're trying to like you're not really like trying to learn as much about the project as possible. You're trying to scan for the best possible investment. And so in that sort of mindset, then like you instantly like your perspective needs to shift as to like how you're spending your time sort of in the space. And so, when you have AI as a tool, you're essentially able to get these like ad hoc summaries, right, of these projects, like dynamically, like, right. And so if I'm like looking up like, hey, like explain, like, for example, explain Pea.AI, which I literally did last week, right? Explain Pea.AI like super simply to me, like I'm a 5-year-old, or like explain to me using very simple analogies. Like, there's a lot of these prompts. And I think Bad Idea even mentioned one like last round, right? Like, in order to objectively learn like a ton and like learn very simply about sort of these tools. Now, with regards to maybe like specifically taking like a trading sort of perspective on it, I think now that you have learned a lot of the fundamentals about sort of the coin, or about the project backing the coin, you're also like understanding maybe why price action moves the way it does, right, to some degree. And like you're also you're developing your intuition as a trader, because you're objectively more sort of informed about the coin, and also can make some predictions as to like why sort of the coin is maybe pumping here, why people are super hyped at a certain price, right, et cetera, et cetera. And moving forward, as you're sort of learning more and more about other projects, you're also able to synthesize this information, right? And AI is not exclusively making the decisions, although you could sort of leave it up to AI, but you're also becoming a better trader by sort of leveraging this sort of like dynamic learning approach, I think. But would love to pass it off to hear bad ideas on this.
Yeah, amen, Shaq. Really great points there. And I kind of wanted to touch on what Shane said too last round. It's always nice talking to AI as well, because they're never going to tell you that your questions are dumb. So That's always a great benefit, especially when it comes to peer-to-peer learning. You never get any of that stuff. Shane, Mike's all yours, buddy.
So for time saving, because this could go in like so many different directions, I'll go another direction that we didn't touch yet. The international community management aspect of Telegram bots that automatically translate and output to our different groups has been pretty powerful, because we have a small group of people that are responsible for managing a pretty large group of like news push. And in order to do that, we have a large group of holders in Thailand, and I don't speak Taiwanese. And we have a large group of holders in Iran, and I don't speak Persian or any of these other languages. So the fact that these bots are automatically able to handle and output not just the right translation, but the right tonality, because I'm not a foreign language speaker, but I think those of you that are know how important it's not just tone, or it's not just content, it's context and tone that also make a difference. And if you just go through Google Translate, man, I've had fights with people just because Translate is so cold and uncalculated. It's just doing the math, word math, right? But the GPTs can be more specific. They can be more regional, or they can have those more colloquial dialects. So I think that's fun. That saves time. I know a couple of people specifically, I'm not name dropping, that are in our groups that really benefit from that, because it used to be a manual thing to have to send a message to the moderator in like 4, 5, 6 foreign language groups and say, hey, I need you to push this message. Now it's all done for you. Then I'll go another direction before I hand it off. Content creation, but not just in Web3, but for everything in general. I'm using GPTs and stuff in my other business ventures. I'm writing a lot of my content. Or if I'm not writing my content, I'm certainly either using GPTs or AIs to give me a skeleton for that content, or inspire the direction of my own content. Because I know I don't want to tell you what to do, but I still want to make sure that some of my content has human touch. And that doesn't just mean reaching my hand in and stirring the AI pot. Sometimes I'm definitely still writing my own content. I don't want it to all be cold, but I am definitely, like, if you were going to write, I don't know how many business posts if you have a business Facebook, for example, and every day you're writing a post, you're doing 7 to 12 a week. If half of those are even output from AI or formulated with AI, and it saves you, what's an hour worth? You know, this is my last story. I got a Roomba a couple of years ago just because I thought it would be cool to have. And after doing the math on how much that thing vacuums and how much time it has saved me from doing, like, I still have to do the intense cleaning and the real vacuuming, but the Roomba can do some of the work and it has offloaded for me at this point hundreds of hours. And I'm not even making up that number. I use it at work in my facility to clean my floors, and I could directly tell you, and that's AI. It's mapping the space, remembering. It's low level AI, but all of this is saving my time, and time is the one thing you can't buy back, right? Enter the cliche. So time saving in every direction, you guys. I think it's there if you can figure out how to use it.
Hey, those are some really good points, Shane. And I wanted to, bring it back to when you're talking about how important tone is and context. When I was in China and I was speaking Chinese, one of the things when you're talking to someone, I always go when they're talking, just to agreeing with them. But then I come back to Canada and I pick up this habit, and it's a really bad habit in Canada. People think I'm ignoring them, I'm not listening to them, all because when they're talking to me, I'm just going So it's super important to really just know your audience and really know your tones as well. So I love the fact that you're using AI just to skip all that stuff and just get straight to the point with it, Shane. It's great. So my third question today, guys, and before I get into our third question, if you guys are enjoying the space today, leave us some comments. Retweet the room, give the space a like. Let's get your friends in here. I really appreciate everybody that joins up here, especially when we're talking about such important topics like this one today. Also, I brought up in Russ, we trust crypto. Thanks for coming up here, bud. If you want to do a quick intro before we get to the third question.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. No, guys, honestly, this is awesome. Shane is, I've witnessed Shane go from like just a follower to, he's being modest. He is a dev. He's a developer. Like, he has helped our marketing, and me being an official marketing dev for Pea.AI and a lot of Shiba projects. This is great, and this is what we want to do, is bring the community into what we're doing. And if you really think about your friends and who you talk to, everyone here knows about cryptocurrency, but don't take that for granted, because we are pioneers. And so if you ask 9 out of 10 people, on the streets about, "Hey, what do you think about artificial intelligence?" They don't know a freaking clue. And the thing is, we are taking it for granted how much this is helping us, not just in our cryptocurrency lives, but in our real lives. And the bots and everything that we have with Bad Idea AI and all these GPTs is actually just phenomenal. And so, like I said, I guess the underlying theme is, don't take for granted that you guys know more than all of your other peers. So, no, like I said, thanks for having me.
Hey, Russ, thanks for coming up, bud. Appreciate the kind words. It's always nice to hear, buddy. So my third question, you guys, and this one's a little bit more focused on the security side of things, but is, how can we use AI or LLMs to detect malicious, bad actors in Web3? And James, I think, you might have some great insight on this, since you are making anti-cheat code here, or anti-cheat AI. So maybe I'll just pass this to you. Maybe you can help shed some light on how we can use AI or MLM or LLMs to detect malicious and bad actors in Web3.
Yeah, thank you. It's most of it's pretty simple. That's because what the AI is going to do is put these actors into profiles. So it's going to build, profiles of what a scammer is. Is it a scammer that calls old people in America, trying to rob them out of their 401k? Or is this a scammer online that's trying to get you to click bad links so they can basically take your computer and mine your information, all your data? What kind of scammer is it? And we're going to build that profile around it. That's gonna be the first major thing that helps detect bad actors. And over time, the actors, of course, will get better at not being detected, but of course, so will our AI and our LLMs. I'm really excited to see. I'm really excited to see AI actually help in a way that's going to protect our retired people in America from being robbed. This is something that happens way too often, and in other countries, it's promoted. You go over there, and bad actor scene is so bad. You go over there, you read a newspaper, magazine, you'll see a post. Hey, scam Americans, scam old Americans. This is how you do it. We pay $20 an hour to do that, and it's getting out of hand. And AI is going to help us. It's a super weapon that we have. Not the whole world, doesn't have access to AI. It's the people who do have access to AI are very privileged, and we're going to be able to protect our country, our people, and individuals.
Thanks, James. And I think some things that we utilize as well, both at P and Footprint, to help detect malicious actors is we use AI to help do smart contract mapping, to map deployers and smart contracts. And if you find one bad actor smart contract, you can actually track that back to the deployer, do some smart contract mapping, and find other malicious smart contracts that are related to that guy as well. Another one that's used is we have a batch download at Footprint. So the batch download is actually used by Trusta. They run an AI on the large amounts of data, and they are able to detect Sybil attacks through our batch download as well, which is super cool. Last thing I want to do when I'm investing is get hit by a Sybil attack. That shit sucks. Anyways, I'm going to pass the mic right over to Shaq here. How can we use AI or LLMs to detect malicious or bad actors in Web3?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess taking a more like financial approach, there's definitely like already sort of like laws in place for KYC and whatnot. But on top of that, there's also the ability for AI to, really, I think what AI strength lies is sort of analyzing large amounts of data that are really unmanageable by, traditional sort of analysis methods. So perhaps, like financial fraud detection, literally, right? Where like you have a ton of transaction data that you need quickly analyzed and sort of audited. And if there's any weird sort of transactions or behavior patterns, right, AI can sort of flag that for further investigation by sort of like a human counterpart, for example. So, I mean, I know like MasterCard, Visa, like, sort of these Web2, financial institutions are already doing this and already use some element of AI actually in sort of their methods to do this. So, I think Citibank actually has, I'm just looking this up here, like Citibank has invested in sort of a product called Pea.AI, which is already doing this actually. So, they're a global data science enterprise that uses AI to identify and sort of eradicate financial crimes. The other approach here is also, cybersecurity threats as well, right? So by analyzing large amounts of data to maybe detect malware sort of in phishing, like, sort of that was brought up earlier, this AI powered sort of network monitoring can almost use like track user behavior and also detect anomalies in user behavior. And so, if there's, things like account takeovers, fake account creation, et cetera, it can sort of detect this well in advance, right, by detecting sort of precursor patterns maybe to this type of behavior, and sort of take a more mitigation approach rather than like a prevention approach after sort of a faulty transaction is going through.
I'm I'm kind of happy you mentioned just better bots for security and stuff like this. I know this is so low on the lay of security things, but I've been recently running a couple of campaigns, and I'm sure some of the listeners here are part of the campaigns. But one of the biggest issues I'm running into with the campaign is there's no really good AI bots to add to Discord to immediately detect and delete you continuous users. I'm talking about users with the same name plus one number, and over again. And I've been having issues with these duplicate users just joining in my Discord from the campaign. And I just wish there was a better bot for me to use. So if anybody here is listening and has any tips for me or knows of a bot that can automatically get rid of these duplicate joiners on the Discord, would love that. Would love it. Next, Shane, my question for you is, how can we use AI or LLMs to detect malicious bad actors in Web3? Or can you even use bad idea to protect yourself against malicious actors?
Those are good questions. That's one where I would immediately jump up and remind you that I'm not super good at crypto trading. Like if I were the millionaire and stuff, and I had the dev capabilities to avoid that stuff, I'd be doing all that on my own. I rely on the tools to do most of that for me. I think pattern analysis in trading is a big thing, like being able to watch wallets or using programs to watch wallets for you. I'm a huge fan also of bubble maps. I'm sure many people here know what bubble maps is. And I think AI versions of things like bubble maps, or when bubble maps is ready to give me not just the data like that, but again, like I said, analyze it and speak it to me in a way where I can make actionable, confident decisions with data. Because right now, sometimes I'm watching charts and I think I know what I'm looking at, but I'm probably lying to myself about half of the information I think I'm taking in. I think maybe we all do that sometimes, but I wish that there was a way that I could just ask the question, if Dex Tools is going to integrate an AI, or if Bubble Maps is going to have that AI assistant right there. And I'd love for it to be the bad idea, agent system, but it's a really fierce competition for stuff like that out there. So I would say that the folks that are responsible for coding our bots have got more than their hands full with gaps to fill and places to put this technology. And the only thing holding us back, this is always a fun conversation, is human bandwidth, right? So like the guy making our bot, the people responsible for the creation and the coding, the physical work that goes into monitoring and managing these bots, only have 24 human flesh hours in a day that they can really work on these things. And that is really the only limit right now about what could be done with these bots. So right now, I use it for pattern analysis and stuff, but frankly, I don't rely on AI a lot to make my safety decisions and stuff. I wish there were an easier way. If anybody knows an easier way, is there like, who would we look at for that? Let me ask you a question, Alex. Is that something that Uniswap is going to do first, or is Jupiter going to do that on Solana? Like these dexes and these brands and companies competing for your volume dollars have got to be trying to figure that out the same way. And they're going to want to come out and say, hey, we've got the AI anti-sandwich protection, and we're going to make sure that there's anti-snipe on every single launch if you put your liquidity here first. Are they doing that? Do you know of anybody that's really working on that?
Geez, I don't know anybody off the top of my head that's working on that as well. You think it would be really smart, and it would provide a lot of customer trust to Uniswap. If they added a little bit more features to protect you against honeypots, for example, or just badly audited, badly reviewed audits from the Dex screeners and Dex tools. That would be really nice if Uniswap did something like that. But again, I don't know if that would necessarily go against the whole decentralized aspect of Uniswap. Uniswap's cool because essentially they just give you the warning and you do whatever the heck you want, which is nice. But again, I guess it does have that downside. So, like Shane did say, though, if you guys have any cool tools that help enhance your security or protect you in Web3, leave them down in the comments below. Really curious to check those out as well. All right, you guys. Next, fourth question today is how can AI help with portfolio optimization? And I think this is a great question just to pass right over to Shaq, because I think you touched on this earlier.
Could you repeat that one more time? Sorry, I was breaking up just a bit.
Oh, no problem. The question is, how can AI help with portfolio optimization?
Oh, for sure. I mean, well, I think, firstly, it's based on like sort of whatever your thesis is, right? Like what vertical do you want to invest in? What sorts of types of technology do you want to invest in, et cetera, et cetera. But once you made sort of this overarching decisions, I kind of like view it like maybe like, I don't know if y'all have seen like the Robinhood like risk profile, right? Like where it's like, oh, you have like a bunch of like questions that you can sort of answer, right, in order for Robinhood to sort of set up your like stock scanners or whatever. It's kind of like almost like that, but instead of like, basically once you've set up your stock scanners, it's off to the races, right, with AI. Like the AI basically maybe can ask a series of like, okay, like what is your like risk threshold here? What types of like, like safe assets versus like what percentage of your portfolio do you want? And sort of safer investments versus like riskier, more speculative investments. And then after that, it's like the AI can basically make the executive decisions on what exactly, like what portfolio exactly to invest in, what ETF to pick, et cetera, just based on sort of more data than you frankly have access to as like sort of an individual trader. And so ultimately, it's probably going to end up making better day-to-day decisions, while I think it's still essential for sort of the human trader to make sort of the overarching decisions, just so they're comfortable with the decisions being made with their money, obviously, right? But I do think, there's a significant portion that will, likely, if not most definitely, get automated, with regards to day-to-day trading for sure.
I have another question for you guys here as well, and because everyone talks about the human touch. My question is do you think AI decisions will eventually start outweighing your natural gut feeling? Do you think you'll start listening to AI in the near future more than you'll be listening to your gut? What's your thoughts on that? Shane?
I don't think that I will, but I think that on an average curve of users, there will be people who do, right? That's how curves work. There are going to be people, and I'm going to sound like such a jerk right here. So for a second, I'm going to take off my bad idea hat and coat and lay that down. I'm just going to be Shane for a second. So there's some dumb people out there, you guys. And when they finally figure out how to use this stuff, they're going to immediately crush it. They're going to lean on it so hard, and you're going to notice that you're going to see more and more interactions with people that you can tell they're just AI, and they're putting out stuff. And I don't know if I'm going to see this where I work. My job is very different. I do fitness for a living. But those of you that work in large office buildings and stuff, man, you're going to see this in the next 5 to 10 years. It won't even be that much. In the next 5 years, you're going to start seeing people that start getting lazy at work and turning in AI and getting caught and fired because they're farming content on like engineer GPT. I know people that work in different industries and and you're starting to see skill specific GPTs pop up so that people can better write their proposals for architecture or potentially make better marketing. Like it's gonna be like that. So I'm worried that I'm not gonna be the one maybe who's like, I gotta imagine that AI is right and I'm an idiot, because generally I'm pretty cocksure and a little too confident most of the time, and I question the AI. But I know there's going to be a lot of people that begin to trust the AI, like you said, and it makes me sad because what I'm saying is, I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's actually like a lack of self-confidence, which is probably why it bothers me so much, because I spend so much time working with people to build up like their self-confidence and to believe in themselves and stuff. And these AIs are going to undermine a lot of people, like, shit, that's a better answer. Or, the way I wrote that the first time wasn't good. And in some instances, that's powerful. It's going to be great for like business communications and stuff, but it's going to screw up a lot of dating. It's going to screw up a lot of interpersonal relationships, so we're here for it. I'm here for it. But it's a super interesting question.
Yeah, man. Don't be sleeping on my AI Riz here. That's for sure. Nobody be sleeping on that AI Riz, man. I think there's a whole South Park episode about this AI Riz. It's interesting, man. God, the day that people start using AI to pick up significant others, oof, that's gonna be a brutal one. Shaq, I'm gonna pass this question to you as well. Really curious on your thoughts. Do you think people are gonna start listening to AI more than they're gonna be listening to their gut?
Wait, sorry, were you talking to me, Alex?
Yeah, I was. Sorry.
Oh, gotcha.
I asked. Yeah, you know the question, right?
Yeah. So, sorry, can you repeat it one more time?
Yeah, do you think people are gonna start trusting AI responses more than they're gonna start trusting their own gut?
Sorry. Yeah, no, I 100% think so, man. Right? Because ultimately, like, what are we? We're just a collection of our, like, sort of thoughts and existing knowledge, right? And so, if you have sort of like a tool that has access to collectively more data and collectively more like intuition, why would you not trust it more, right? And obviously, like, yes, there's like these concerns, like, okay, how is this model trained? Like, what is sort of the validation mechanisms for the model, et cetera, right? But like at the end of the day, it's objectively sort of, it has at least already we're seeing this. It has a level of reasoning that is at least on par, with sort of like some individuals, right? And so I think like when you're already at that level and you already have the ability to synthesize information and draw your own insights from what AI is giving you, it becomes immensely powerful tool. I think the other really major concern that I have before fully trusting it is like really looking into like how these companies are data indexing. I was watching this interview recently from like a CEO of like one of these like AI GPT wrappers, and what he was saying is like the next winner, right? Like it's not going to be like OpenAI versus Bard versus blah blah blah, right? Like the next winner in AI tech is going to be whoever can figure out data indexing the fastest. And what they mean by that is like literally like, okay, what is the highest quality content that we could train our sort of agent on? What is like the highest and like also like what is the least amount of like content that like in order to prevent hallucination, in order to prevent like just noise in the data, what is the highest quality and like limited set of content that we should pick in order to like sort of allow for the AI to access. And so when you really figure that out properly, and maybe that hasn't been figured out properly yet, but I mean, I'm for sure like already confident that AI knows like 10 times the amount I do with like even the current indexing methods, right? Like just an insane amount. You can ask it for whatever, and it's going to spit out like a pretty decent answer most of the time. Yes, there's like the 5% of cases where it just absolutely hallucinates, but I feel like humans also have that level of intuition to where it's like, okay, this is just not a right answer. Let me just rewrite my prompt, right? It's also like about prompt engineering to some degree as well. It's like, let me just rewrite my prompt to maybe suit this sort of like type of content more, right? Like, and flag this type of content more, and sort of like when the AI is searching for stuff to get trained on. So I really think it's a question of like, okay, well, if data indexing like comes to the point where it's sort of very reliable consistently, there's literally like maybe like under 1% or 0% chance of hallucination, then people not only like are going to start trusting it, they should start trusting it, frankly, because it has like just access to more information than you do.
Dude, awesome point, Shaq. Great response there. Really something interesting to think about, and it's nice to kind of see, both sides of the coin here from both you, Shane, and Shaq. So I got one more question, you guys, and this one is really onto you. If you guys want to answer it, this one's about MEV. I want to touch on MEV as it's probably the most commonly used AI product or tool in Web3 right now. I would say, I'm sure we've all heard of Jared from Subway.E and how much money he's made in the past year from MEV and sandwich attacks. You guys, give me the thumbs up here if you're cool on this question, if you're cool on answering questions about MEV. If so, I'll ask it away. If not, I'm okay with wrapping it up as well. Just give me one of these if you want to talk about MEV. If not, we can wrap her up.
It makes me laugh when you do the sad face. I feel like that's social pressure. I can tell you how little I know about MEVs. I want to throw this back on Uniswap and these other dexes. Nobody here runs a dex. I want to throw that at them. I cannot believe after watching all of that money over the last 9 months and everybody's awareness of these things that there just hasn't been some massive push by one of these dexes to go, you know what, that shit sucks because that's money that we could have been making. Like at a minimum, that's money. I know they don't care. Transactions are transactions or whatever. But it's just frustrating that nobody has stood up and said anything. So I can't offer any solutions as bad idea or as myself right now because I don't really know much about what could really be done because I don't know how much of that. I know it's our responsibility, right? DeFi and trading and it's all your own stuff, but there's got to be a product solution. Somebody can do better. Do better, somebody.
I use the MEV blocker, the RPC node. That one but it only works for Ethereum, unfortunately, for my MetaMask. I wish it worked for other chains, especially like Solana right now, for example. I would love to have a RPC node to prevent sandwich attacks on Solana. But anyways, Shane, you pretty much answered my question because the question was just I'm curious on your thoughts on MEV and sandwich attacks. And is it possible to use AI to thwart these AI attacks? Shaq.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, great points actually, like brought up earlier. And I think like there's several strategies that are already being used in order to prevent sort of MEV attacks. Like, so for example, sort of automated systems that are just scanning sort of transactions coming in. Frequent batch auctioning, I think, is available on Say, where prevent like front running attacks and whatnot. So basically, just sort of having like everything basically like the past X number of trades, be executed at the same time at the same price. And then obviously like maybe protecting RPC endpoints, using DeFi aggregators and sort of privacy solutions as well. There's all these like already like tools that exist. The question now is like, okay, like how can we maybe analyze, right, and maybe like not even have these tools, like have the need for these tools to exist, I guess, right? Like how can we analyze incoming trades at a rate, obviously like latency matters immensely in trading, at a rate and also consistency of where we can see like consistently, okay, 95% or more of these attacks are being detected on this network, so we don't really have to worry about this anymore, and maybe like also reduce some of the computational overhead that's required with some of these solutions, and also like architecture, right, that's required in some of these solutions, like frequent batch auctioning, for example. So I think maybe like what you could do is, if you have like a shared sequencer model or even like just a sequencer in general, like get the string of trades and transaction data that's being posted to your data availability layer, and literally just like have sort of AI like analyze the incoming stream of transactions, and obviously like metadata for transactions isn't like that intense to process, so maybe that could actually be feasibly done with the latency necessary, but maybe I think we'd also need to see like the maybe like the invention of like more low latency like AI agents. Like I think right now, obviously latency really isn't a priority, as like sort of the response rate like quality is. So maybe if you actually wanted to do like something feasible with like sort of a trading application, right, where you're preventing a lot of these MEV attacks, you would need a fundamentally different architecture for the model. Now, I mean, I don't want to comment too much on that since I'm like really uneducated on that stuff, but yeah, I mean, that's just sort of my 2 cents.
Dude, really great points. As usual, Shaq, it was great, especially, really hitting on the technical side of things and some technical solutions. It was really great, Shaq. So thanks for bringing that up there. You guys, now is the time. I'm out of questions. So if anybody here's listening has any questions for any of our speakers regarding our topic today, feel free to request to speak or you can leave a comment in the comment section. And while I'm waiting for you guys to come up and ask any questions, if you do, I am going to start wrapping up with a little bit of outros. So I just want to thank everybody again here for joining our space. It was really great today. Some really great points were made. Some really great education was dropped. So if you guys enjoyed the space, of course, give all the speakers up here a follow. Give all the products a follow. And give P a follow as well if you enjoyed the space. Really, these spaces aren't nothing without you guys as listeners, and of course, our great speakers. So, everybody here appreciates you all. And that being said, I'm going to pass the mic over to Shane for some final thoughts.
So before we go, I would say that everyone should check out the 2 pin posts that I put up top earlier. If you haven't already scrolled past those, there's a long thread from Pea.AI about a lot of what they're doing. It's like an 8-post thread. So you either need to bookmark that or open that in a new window so you don't lose it as you exit the spaces and stuff. It's easy when you leave space. It's kind of like a concert where they've got all those people with weird backpacks handing out flyers that nobody wants, but you take one anyway. You need to bookmark that so you can read it later because it's more than one post. And then the other one is the Bad Idea post about the Bad Ideas news website. We actually had a community member step up and create what is legitimately an entire news website / organization. So to give you an example of what like a DAO is, this was something that this guy had this idea, and he said, you guys put out a lot of good news, but I don't feel like it's highlighted or it's given enough visual impact. So he's a professional media guy. Check out that post up there and check out the Bad Ideas AI news website. It'll give you a chance to look into a lot of the stuff that we're doing, and it'll lead you down a rabbit hole for the rest of our stuff. And then in closing, what I would say was thanks to Alex and Pea.AI and Footprint Analytics, all 3 of them, for inviting us in again, just like last week. And then again, Shaq and Stolte were here last week. I appreciate you guys coming up as speakers too. You guys are really, really onto some cool stuff. Shaq, you are a smart dude. I gave you a follow. I like a lot of what you're talking about. I hope we get to link up again. Russ, what you came up and said earlier was very sweet. And this is me as Shane, not as Bad Idea. I appreciate that, man. I think we're all working hard to try and get a brand highlighted. I'm just trying to get Lightspeed's work noticed. Some of you might know who Mr. Lightspeed is. The work that he's done over there with this bot, I know he's put his heart and his soul into this thing, and I'm just trying to make sure that someone who I appreciate gets their work noticed. I like to see my friends win. I like to see Alex get more followers on the Pea.AI account. I like to see Alan NFT sell his graphics and stuff like that. So thanks for having me here. Thanks for Bad Idea. Thanks to the Bad Idea community for giving me the keys to the X account. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but I'm up here saying stuff that may or may not be good. And follow me if you want to hear more of it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for joining, Shane. It's always a pleasure having you up here. And shout out to Alan NFT in the audience. Alan NFT, how's it going, buddy? Always great to see you, even if you're just listening. It's always a pleasure, Alan. So shout out to Alan NFT and the listeners. Next, I'm passing over to James for some final thoughts. How can we find you at CyberLeap?
Yeah, thanks again for having me. This is great. You can find us at CyberLeap on Twitter. You can also check us out on cyberleap.net. We're building our site live. Everything you see is us doing live. That's what we're doing. And join our Discord. Thanks again, guys.
Yeah. Guys, go follow CyberLeap. Go join the Discord. James, thanks for coming up today, buddy. It's appreciate having you up. Next, Shaq, hit us with those final thoughts, buddy.
Yeah, really appreciate you having me here again, Alex. I think, since we're speaking so much about trading today, quick sort of pitch about Layer N. We're building the fastest sort of time to finality L2 there is. And we're also building sort of an order book rollup that's specifically DeFi focused for sort of DeFi applications. So if y'all know sort of anybody building DEXs, lending protocols, and stable coins, or just any power users in the space, just retail investors and people that really love these products, would love to have a conversation with them to learn more, about how, maybe some potential features that we can sort of add onto our platform to make it as developer friendly and as user friendly as possible. So you can find more about Layer N, layern.com. I have sort of their Twitter handle in my bio if y'all want to go check it out through that as well. But super exciting points brought up by everybody here. Really hyped for the future of the space. And yeah, thank you for having me once again.
Hey, thanks for joining. And check, definitely do that pitch you just did in the Flip from Friends chat, man. I think you'll definitely meet some cool people there. But with that being said, you guys, we're wrapping it up. Thank you all again so much for joining this week's space. We're doing weekly AI series. So next week, same time, 8 a.m. PST, join us for our next installment in our AI series. I don't know the topic yet, but I'll figure it out soon, and I'll get those questions going. Yeah, you guys, thanks again, and we'll catch you next week. Join our whitelist. Go to Pea.AI and sign up for our whitelist. And with that being said, I'm wrapping it up. Bye, guys.